It was 10 a.m. in the morning. It was a bright, sunny morning. Rahul was inside the conference room of his office and he was excited to start with his presentation with all the senior executives of the company being present. It was a good opportunity for him to create a long lasting impression. He started few minutes into it, he went silent with all the senior executives looking at him. His heart started pounding. It seemed as if it is going to come out of his chest. He started sweating profusely. His palms were sweating, and there were drops of sweat even on his forehead. In his mind, he was thinking his worst fear had come true, and it had come true on an occasion where it was totally uncalled for. He could barely speak. Somehow, he completed the presentation, rambled through the slides. He spoke in a volume which was barely audible to others, but to himself. Now you might be thinking, what is it that I'm talking about? So, friends, I shared with you this small incident or anecdote to highlight a condition which is experienced by many, acknowledged by very few. And that's the reason of making this video to create awareness about this condition and how you can overcome it. Hi, friends. My name is Lalit Kumar Hunlani. I am a life and executive coach, corporate trainer, motivational speaker, and a best selling author of multiple books on Amazon. And today we are going to talk about this condition which is known as imposter syndrome. So, what is it that we are going to cover? Number one, we are going to talk about what is this condition. Number two, what are the characteristics of this state? Number three, what causes it? Number four, how it impacts our life. And number five, how you can overcome it. So to make the best use of this video, watch it till the very end because you will get a lot of useful information, especially if you have heard about this term for the first time. I am sure the information that I am going to share with you will certainly make a lot of sense. If you have known it, but you don't know how to work around it, even then watch it so that you get the solution so that you can next time when you experience this condition you can overcome it. Now if in your head you are thinking that this is something which you may not have experienced or it is not experienced by ordinary people, be careful. As per the studies done, almost 82% of the individuals experience it, but since there is lack of awareness, most people don't even know that they are experiencing this condition. So watch it. Now, without much ado, let's get started. So first, let's understand what is imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is a mental condition where an individual starts doubting themselves. So you might be successful, you might be doing good in your life, but then there is a constant fear that whatever you are doing, you are not good enough. There is a constant doubt about your capability. You must be always thinking that sooner or later this is going to be taken away. Truth to be told, when I transitioned from my corporate career to start doing what I'm doing currently, I also experienced this condition. There were times when I used to think, who gave me the right to write a book? Why would anyone even read me? What authority do I have? Why I can coach anyone? Why should anyone come to me? And blah, blah, blah. Thanks to the support of my coach, I was able to overcome this condition and continue on my path, which gave me the confidence. Now, having known what is this condition about, let's also understand what are some of the characteristics that you might experience, and this may help you in recognizing whether you are suffering from it, whether you are experiencing it or not. Number one, doubt. If you are having too much doubt about your capability, every time you do something, you have this question, oh, is it really me? Have I done this? Or you want to do something, but you have this kind of nagging feeling in your head whether I can do this. Am I capable of it? Will I ever be able to do it? So that's the first symptom. If you have too much of doubt on self, on self capability, that's a sign that you are experiencing this condition, which is known as imposter syndrome. Number two, which is dreading the fear. What is it? Every time you have this fear in your mind, that sooner or later you are going to be exposed. If you consider yourself that I am someone who is fraud, I don't have the adequate knowledge, I don't have the adequate skill, and people are going to know about it very soon, which is dreading the fear or dreading the worst condition. So that's the number two characteristics that you are suffering from this condition. Number three, discounting success. If you are successful, you are getting good in your life, people are appreciating you, but you don't feel like celebrating your success. Every time you are getting success, you are discounting it to external factors. You might be giving credit to everyone and anyone but yourself. You are experiencing imposter syndrome. So these are the three main characteristics. What are these? One, doubting self. Number two, dreading fear. Number three is discounting success. Now, having known this, that when you are experiencing it, let's also understand what are the common causes because of which you might be experiencing this condition. So, there are again three reasons or three possible causes that may be responsible for, and these are three S. First S is self. Now, if you have a lot of self doubt on your capabilities, it could be linked to your persona, that you as an individual, you have this persona, don't feel confident about yourself, where you have this low self esteem which is always pulling you down. Then that's the first possible cause you might be experiencing it. So I know many people, when I coach them, who have a lot of self doubt within them. They want to do things they are not able to do, because even before taking the first step, they are the ones who stop themselves. Why? Because they are not sure if they are going to achieve something, if they will be able to accomplish what they want to. So now nobody else is to be blamed for this condition of theirs, because that's somewhere in their persona, in their personality. So as a coach, when I engage with them, I work with them, we go tap into the root causes, and that's how we are able to overcome it. Now, if you would like to know how this helps, you can click on the link above, so you can go through one of the success stories of my clients and how she was able to overcome it. Getting back to the video, now that's the number one, which is self-doubt. Number two, so the number two is about surroundings. Many times what also happens is, kind of people we are surrounded with, they also have an impact, they also have a bearing why we must be experiencing this condition. Let me give you an example. If you are living in a family where you are most of the times criticized by others, you are compared with others, it leads to a condition where you start doubting yourself. So for example, if you have a brother or sister who is good in studies and you are, say, average, every time there would be some comparison happening where you will be made to realize that you are not good enough. So your surroundings are coming into play. Let's take another example. Maybe you are working in the office and you have colleagues who are smarter, you have colleagues who are more efficient. And every time your manager is highlighting this to you, comparing you with others in terms of their efficiency, in terms of their productivity, in terms of their accuracy, or maybe any other parameter, gradually you start doubting yourself. So that's number two, which is your surroundings. Now let's look at number three, third as, which is society. Many a times there is a lot of pressure from society, and this pressure from society might be coming in directly and it may be coming indirectly too. So what I mean by that is, so you look up to others, you look at what kind of success others have achieved. In your mind, you start benchmarking that as your success benchmark as well. So what is it that you are doing? You might be doing good from your own standards, but since you are benchmarking yourself with society, you are creating pressure for it. Now, why this happens? Beyond our immediate family, beyond our immediate work colleagues, if you are meeting people who are always giving you examples of people who have achieved tremendous success, and these people may be in their network, consciously, unconsciously, they are putting those thoughts into your mind. So gradually, what you do, you start doing benchmarking of your success to the parameters, to the conditions which are set by society. And this is the third cause which may be responsible for this condition. So, what are these three causes? Number one, self. Number two is surroundings. And number three is society. So, I hope it's clear now what is imposter syndrome, what are the characteristics, and what are the causes. Having known the characteristics and causes of this condition, Let's look at how it impacts our life. See, it impacts our life in multiple ways. But here, I'm going to share with you the three critical areas in which this condition may be having severe. Number one is your health. As I stated earlier, this is a mental condition. And if you are spending too much time or you are experiencing it consistently, it impacts your mental health. How? You start experiencing anxiety, worry, stress, and similar negative emotions. So, in the anecdote of Rahul, which I shared in the beginning, since he was consistently experiencing this condition, even before that day, he was dreading it. He was always feeling that he is not good enough and he might be exposed. And mind you, while he was feeling all these things in his career, in his work, he was doing pretty well. But just because he was suffering from imposter syndrome, he was constantly experiencing these negative conditions. And as an outcome of that, he also experienced some physical symptoms on the day of his presentation. So that's number one, which is your mental health. Number two is your career or profession. Say, if you, mentally you are constantly feeling tired, fatigued, stressed, it is going to have an impact on your career. It is going to come into the way of your professional development. How? You may not be really willing to reach out to challenging opportunities. You may always be doubting yourself when it comes to asking for promotion or a pay hike. You might be deserving, but when it comes to asking for it, you may be having a lot of self doubt when you are suffering from this condition, and that may stop you on your tracks. In today's world and age, just doing good work is not enough. Just being a brilliant performer is not enough. You need to ask for what you want because it's a competitive scenario. Until the time you are not confident on your own, till the time you don't feel confident in yourself and you don't ask for, many a times opportunities are not going to come to you. And if you don't grab the opportunities, if you don't reach out to them, the chances of you being stuck at the same place in your career or profession are significantly high. So that's number two. Now let's look at number three. So number three is your relationships. When you are going through this kind of a state, you are experiencing this stress, worry, anxiety, negative emotions. What happens is constantly you seek external validation. So every time you may be asking people to praise you, you would be expecting validation from them, which may help you in improving your self esteem. Now, to a point, it is okay. But if you are expecting too much from the people, that may come into the way of your relationship. So that's one scenario. Another scenario could be because there is so much fear within you, you might start cutting yourself from others for the fear of being exposed, that people will come to know about real you, that you are not really worth it, that you don't really deserve all those things that are coming to your way. And that fear of exposure may push you to cut yourself off from your near and dear one. So it could be your partner, it could be your family member, it could be your colleagues, it could be your friends. So this condition comes into the way of having healthy relationships with people around you. So these are the three major impact areas of this condition. Having known this, now let's move on and see how you can overcome it. Now, overcoming it requires three simple or easy steps. Number one, as I said earlier, many a times we experience it, but we don't acknowledge it. So the number one step is acknowledging it. Okay. Accepting that yes, you are experiencing this condition. You are experiencing imposter syndrome. That's why it is important, because once you accept, once you acknowledge, then only you can start working on it. If you don't, then what you will try to do is push it under the carpet, try to ignore it, which unfortunately doesn't work for you. The number one step is accept and acknowledge. Once you have done it, number two, which is about addressing the root causes. As we have discussed the causes, the first one is self, second is your surroundings, and third is the society. Once you have accepted, go and identify what is leading you to experience this condition? Is it you yourself who is pushing you or who is making you feel in a certain way? Or is it your surroundings which is making you feel? Every time if you are being criticized, you are being questioned, your efforts are not being praised, your successes are not being celebrated, then there is a fair chance that your surroundings are responsible. So identify if it is self, it is surrounding, or it is the society. So that's the number two. Number three, once you have identified what is it that is troubling you, then what all you need to do is change it. And how do you change it? So let's consider if it is self, that you are the one who is responsible for this condition, and it is something which is inherently in your persona. Seeking professional support to work on yourself is certainly going to help you in this condition. Because if you are someone who has experienced low self esteem, you always feel low confident, and there is something inside you which is pulling you down, then you urgently need help from a professional coach or maybe therapist, depending upon the kind of condition you are. But seeking professional support is going to help you come out of it. On your own, you may not be able to do. So that's number one. Second, so let's consider if it is your surroundings, then you will have to find out how you can change your surroundings or not, how you can minimize your exposure to the wrong kind of people who might be pushing you into this kind of condition. Number three, society. If by interacting with people, too much of social interaction is leading you to a condition of overwhelm, where you see the other's success and you feel envy or you feel overwhelmed, like they have achieved so much, I have not achieved anything, then you better cut down your exposure to these social gatherings, to the social interactions, so that you are able to come out of that condition. Whichever way it works for you, whether it requires working on yourself, it requires working on your surroundings, or it requires working on your social exposure. Either ways, decide and work around. And as I said earlier, many a times when you are into this condition, it's not easy to work on your own. You might say, Lalit, very easily you are saying, and I have experienced while I am into that state, it's not easy. I am with you. I agree with you. And that is why I said, take help of a professional who can do that. So as a coach, when I work with my clients, we do work, we go deeper, and I am able to help my clients in coming out of this situation by using coaching as a methodology. If you would like to know how coaching works and what kind of results it can bring to you, you can just click on the link above and you will be able to watch some of the success stories of the client who were experiencing either this or similar conditions within their life and how they were able to come out. So the three ways in which you can work on this condition of imposter syndrome. Number one is acknowledging and accepting. Number two, addressing the root cause. And number three, working on it. So these are the three ways in which you can overcome this condition. And this brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you liked it. If you got some new insights, if you found something new which you would like to share, please go into comments and share it. I will love to read your comments. And if there is any feedback that you would like to give to me, please feel free to do so. I consider feedback as a gift and I would be happy to receive that gift from your side. I will be back soon with a new video shortly. Till then, take care. Bye bye.